Welcome to the Artist Notepad, where we explore artistry, we talk life, and we talk with our mouths full. I'm David.
And I'm Jack. Welcome to another episode of Tan and Chill. Today we're going to be answering the questions that you sent to us on Instagram at the Artist Notepad. But before we head right on into those, David, how you doing?
Jackie boy, my friend, my buddy, my pal. I'm doing very well, my friend. I'm eating my Doritos, party size from Costco, 2.5 health star rating.
That's what we like. We don't really like to hear that, but
And I'm sipping on my Zytho Brewing Zesty Pale Ale.
how's that?
Not that great, to be honest.
Doesn't sound great. Hey, sounds like a lab experiment. Zytho.
Yeah, it sounds like a high school kid was like, "Hey, what if like we made like a lemon pale ale and like call it like Zesty?"
Zytho.
But it's not that great. It's like I give it like a 3.5 out of 10.
Well, it's better than the health star rating on your chips.
Yeah,
so
man.
That
That's something.
there's that.
Yeah, man. You know what else is fun? Before I ask, how you doing? Is these
What else is fun, David?
Ooshie? You know these Ooshie things you get from Woolies?
No, are you showing me right now?
Yeah.
Oh, you are? Yeah. Actually, that's weird, man.
Yeah, man.
We've got that exact same one on my table upstairs. I
No way.
didn't know what they were, but I just saw it on the table.
This guy
and we've
must
got
be
that same
a
thing.
common one. It looks like a
Is it the dude from Star Wars? The
Stormtrooper or
you know the guy.
Star Trooper.
No, it's the big bad of the
No, it's
the
not.
newest trilogy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, what's his name? Kylo Ren? Is that his name?
Is this Kylo Ren? And then next
I
to
think
it,
it might be.
I have Yoda. And Yoda's glowing in the dark.
Yoda. There you
Yeah.
go. Yoda glows in the dark, does he?
Yeah, he just stares at me while I try to sleep these days.
What is it with you and being so creeped out by anything related to Yoda? You got a bit
Dude,
of a
Yoda has
fear
no
there.
white in his eyes, and that's demonic, bro. That's scary to me. But Jack, enough about me. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, man. It's been a good day. I think, as the kids say, the weather was lit today. It was
Lit.
time for just to backtrack. Time for Jack's weather report.
Yeah.
And the weather was around, I think it was around 28 degrees today, at least where I live. Sun was shining. It was bit grimmer in the morning, but it cleared up into a beautiful day. I managed to get out, go to the park.
Nice.
Yeah, get some running in.
How long did you run for?
Well, actually, I bought a new football or soccer ball for you, other people who
Aussies.
call it soccer, and Americans. And I wanted to just like give that a run out because my older ball, I thought I was just really bad, and I think partly that is the case. But the other case is that for some reason in that old ball, I don't know if this happens to most old footballs, but the sweet spot of the ball started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it was like I was kicking it, and the ball would just sort of fly off in some random direction.
Okay.
And so I got this new ball, and thankfully I wasn't as bad as I had feared. And when I was kicking this one, it was nice and clean.
Is there one
the
of
ball was
those?
traveling much better.
It's a fresh ball, so when you kick it, it makes that ping sound. That ping.
I've never heard a ball make that sound before.
Maybe it's
apart
too
from a
high
golf
pitch
ball.
from my voice, but I've heard some balls make that sound.
Okay.
Just use pitch correction and lower that bad boy, and then
Don't think I will.
you will. Don't worry when you edit this. Anyways,
But today, David, we're going to be answering some fan questions
Yes.
because we're too lazy to sort anything out ourselves. So this way, you guys can basically choose the topics that we discuss, and David and I will answer them. Some of them might be quick answers. Some of them might turn into conversations that are dragged out too long. And I already know who's going to be the person who does that. And it's not going to be David.
dude. So before we move forward, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of fans, I still feel weird saying or calling it that, but I was at a cafe today, right? I was just
Oh,
studying.
true.
Yeah, yeah. Remember? Yeah. So I was just chilling. I just finished the class. I felt like I wanted to change the pace. I'm just chilling, and then this guy walks up to me, and he's like, "Hey, I listen. You're from the artist Notepad, right?" And I'm like, I would never in this early on in like our podcast career think that someone would notice me or like know who I am because of our podcast. And then we ended up chatting for a bit. Shout out to you, Charlie. His Instagram is at portrait underscore of underscore innocent underscore X. But he was a dope guy. He just approached me and was like, "Oh, like I've listened to your pod, blah 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 blah." So yeah, so it was a cool experience, man.
Do you think he looked at your picture first, or hold
Okay.
like just give me a sec here.
I'll give you a
Do you
sec.
think when you hear someone's voice and you picture what they look like, but you always get it really wrong? Do you think he just got it so right that he saw you and before he even heard you talk, he was just like, "That's David from the artist Notepad"?
Dude, I actually think that's a good question because like the guy had his back turned. When I walked in, it was like he would have maybe seen me from his peripheral, but I don't think he turned around the whole time. And then I don't know, like after like an hour.
So you think
30
he heard
minutes,
you talk and then
Maybe I don't know. Yeah,
Mm.
because like I've never met the guy before, but he was a cool bloke. He's an artist.
Well, it's safe to say that we are no longer joking now when we say that we are famous
Bro,
because,
we're famous.
well, at least you are, David. But
We're so
I'm
famous.
going to sort of ride on that wave, and I'm going to take some kind
some
of credit
credit.
for that. So,
Yep.
if you recognize you, probably would have recognized me. Come on, let's be real.
All
Let's
right.
be fair.
I'm not gonna try to feed your ego too much, but I must say that a lot of friends.
It's been fed. It's been fed.
A lot of friends have said to me that they think your voice is really good. You have that radio podcast
Ooh.
voice. More than
That's-
they said it to me, so it hurt my feelings low key, but they think your voice is really good. So that's that.
That's really nice of them.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Legit like a handful.
I don't think I do, to be honest. I think I just, I don't know. I've got a lot of like my voice, unless I've been talking a lot during the day and like nice and warmed up,
Mhm.
my voice, I'll sound like I'm going through puberty still. So,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. Shall we get into the questions, Jack?
Hit me with them, David. Hit me.
Alrighty. Should we go from my page or the tan page? Where should we start?
Go in whichever order you like, and I will just follow you.
Okay. We're gonna hit all of them, right? So we'll see. First question we're gonna just keep everyone mysterious. Because the people
No,
that
let's give shout outs.
do you reckon?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. First question comes from Evelyn Park. And she asked, not really a question, but state like a topic for us to discuss. Cultural appropriation, brackets question mark, in art/music.
So, I think that cultural appropriation is a real thing, but I think it gets chucked around way more than is valid. If you like pop music, then that's cultural appropriation. If you like, if you even like things like hip hop, that's cultural appropriation. Hip hop came from taking records that were not hip hop because hip hop wasn't a thing and spinning them together, making like disco hip hop and things like that. So like if we're talking about music, every single piece of music derives from some other genre. And so that's part of creating, is borrowing and recreating, or reappropriating, if you want to call it that. Sometimes there's things where people do like really like that. It's not a smooth bridge between two things. So they'll okay, I'll give you a good example actually.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Adele photo recently where she's wearing the Jamaican bikini?
Actually, haven't. I've seen
You
that
haven't?
she lost a lot of weight. I know that, but I haven't seen the Jamaican bikini thing.
Look it up right now.
Sure.
I'll keep
Adele.
talking.
Yep.
And basically, like, there's a huge uproar because she's got her hair
I
in
see.
braids. I think I actually can't remember what her hair's doing. I think it's in braids. But
It looks kind of photoshopped. Here, let me jog your memory. This is what it looks like.
there you go. Yeah. And
Bro, she lost so much weight. Anyways.
yeah, she did. There's been a lot of people who have an issue with that. And the crazy thing is most of the photos that have been shared in the media, they've actually cut down the photo. They've cropped the photo because there's two black guys in the back who I assume are Jamaicans, and they've cropped them out deliberately to make it look like she's just done this on her own, when clearly she's at some kind of like event where she has been hanging out with Jamaicans and they've given her a makeover. Like,
Yeah.
she didn't do that hair herself.
Yeah,
So
of course. That looks hard to do.
she also in the post, because it was on Instagram, she also said something about loving Jamaica, or like some kind of emoji showing that like she loves Jamaica, right?
Yep.
So for me, that's like celebrating Jamaican culture, right? But
Yeah.
some people would call that cultural appropriation. I just see that as celebrating Jamaican culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time in art, I think almost 90% of the time, maybe even more, when people borrow things from different genres or different cultures, they're celebrating them as opposed to stealing them and not respecting them. There are some things which they have a big cultural significance, and I think that's why people are getting quite worked up about Adele and her hair, because hair in Jamaica has a big cultural significance.
Yeah.
The reason why like dreadlocks and things exist is connected to slavery. And so I can understand to an extent why some people get upset about that. But at the same time, she's celebrating the culture, right? She's celebrating it with love. She's not disrespecting. And so I only think that it's cultural appropriation, if we're going to call it that, is a bad thing when there's disrespect there. And most of the time, in my opinion, it isn't disrespectful. It's celebratory. So that's my opinion on cultural appropriation.
So like
but
the question is, like, if we just take a step back and then define it, right? Would you say cultural appropriation is when you pimp it out or like use to your own benefit by taking what you think is fashionable or cool from a culture and then just use it to your own way? Would you say that is cultural?
But even saying it like that, I think that it's got a negative twist on it already. I would just say
sure,
it's borrowing certain things that you like from or think are cool from different cultures, and like putting them in more of a context of whatever your culture is. I think sometimes it is done badly. Sometimes it is disrespectful and it shouldn't be done. But in my opinion, a lot of the time, I think it's done in a way that's respectful or celebratory. And maybe I'm being naive here, but I don't see people doing this stuff as a sign of disrespect. I see it as a sign of, we love this, so we want to do this. And sometimes when they're doing it from a place of ignorance and naivety, it's still coming from a place of, I really like that, so I want to bring that into my music. Like, another Jamaican example, this isn't intentional, but excuse me, is reggae. Like, you hear reggae themes in a lot of music, like pop music and stuff these days. And it's because people love the sound of reggae. It's not because they're intentionally like stealing it from Jamaican culture and like disrespecting the roots of it. They just love the sound of it and it makes them feel good. That's why they take it. So I just, a lot of the time, I think that it's blown out of proportion, but
it seems that it seems like a lot of cultural appropriation examples, even if you just search it up on like Google, right? It seems to be taken from like African or just black culture.
Yeah.
Or like even like what do you call it? Like indigenous culture. If we talk about like Indians or
Hispanic culture.
Hispanic or which is interesting. I can't really think of many music or like, because the original topic was in arts and music, right? One of the images that I saw or I come across was like Katy Perry in the Egyptian kind of outfit. But even then, I don't know if like, as you said, it's like offensive. Maybe because I don't have that connection with Egyptian or Jamaican culture that I don't see it as a bad thing. But you who are Jamaican, so like you're saying it doesn't seem like.
Yeah, but I don't pretend to speak on behalf of all Jamaicans. Like personally,
Yeah.
I don't have a huge problem with people having dreadlocks, like who don't like respect the roots of that. But I totally respect people who do. It's just my opinion on it. So I don't pretend to speak for all Jamaicans or like, I just personally think that most of the time it's done from a place of love, not disrespect. But I can see how people get offended by it.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah. I think we can move on. I actually don't have much to say on it.
Yes, we can.
The next question, which I think we can go past pretty quick as well. This one is
maybe
from
just use first names.
first names. What's his
From
first
now
name?
on, just use first names.
Taeyun. This is from Taeyun, aka Goyo, a guest that was on. He asked.
Okay, so now we know who he is.
Because I feel like if he's listening, then he'll know and he'll feel loved. But the question is, what music you dislike and why?
David?
I feel like I'm a lot more broad in my musical taste now, but I still don't really like hardstyle or EDM, and I think that's been that way since I started to explore music. But I had to create or be part of an ensemble, my last ensemble, which we had to make hardstyle, and I was assigned to arrange the track, and I've never arranged hardstyle before, but we did a good job. Let's just call it that. So I don't feel like musically it's just not very exciting for me because you just know what's going to happen. So I don't really like hardstyle, to put it simply. So that's for me. It's just not exciting, even though it's meant to be a genre of music that builds excitement and it's celebrated in rave culture, drug culture maybe, but it doesn't do much for me. Yeah. What about you, Jack?
I don't dislike any music, any style of music. I dislike songs, but I don't dislike styles of music. It's just
wow.
Yeah, I can appreciate every type of music, and
Such an
in the right
guy.
context, in the right mood, whatever, I can like it. So, yeah, it's not like I listen to every genre, but I don't hear something and go, there's nothing that I don't like. So there's nothing that I like about this. You know, every genre I've heard has cool things in it. So yeah. Sorry, it's a boring answer, but I just don't have anything that I would rule out completely.
Yeah, that's all right. You're boring most of the time.
Especially working at gigs, when like the sort of stuff you hear at gigs where you're just like, okay, I would never listen to this like outside, but this is going off and I'm enjoying it. Like I don't listen to metal, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've engineered some metal gigs and I'm just like, this is sick. Like the whole crowd just going crazy and the energy in the room is just like, wow, I understand right now. Like I get this right now.
That might be why people enjoy a certain type of genre as well. It's the experience you get from live music that changes your perception. So even for me,
well, that's
maybe
rave culture, bro.
Yeah,
like, people aren't
maybe
listening to. I mean, people do listen to hard style like by themselves and stuff, but the times where hard style is really celebrated is at raves.
Yeah. Maybe I would be a hardstyle fan if I went to one rave while I was underage, as my
Change
friends
your
were doing.
life.
It would have changed my life, maybe. Anyways,
You would have changed your name from David to Ravid.
exactly. They would call me Ravid Chun on the streets.
That's what they'd say. Ravid, the backseat bandit.
Yes. Next question. Why do you look like that? And this is asked from my own sister, Joanna.
Why do you look like that, David?
Well, when mom and dad, they fell in love. Yeah, I'm a product of mom and dad. Let's just say that.
No way, same.
Really?
Yeah, how crazy is that?
Oh, that's crazy. So we have the same parents.
Brother? Got you good. Got you good.
No, I just checked on some Doritos.
No, I was just really funny, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There's my puberty.
All right, next question. Use of N-word in K-pop. Asked by what's her name? EJ.
Well, David, you hinted to me that there's some kind of context to this, but
Yeah.
without context, obviously, no. No.
No. Next question.
What's the context though?
Okay, I'll give the context. Just so that like K-pop and K-hip hop it says.
Ah,
Same thing. No, but so
Still no.
It is the same thing because there's a Korean word that sounds like the N word, and I'm gonna say it because I'm not saying the N word. It's 니가, but it actually sounds like the N word, right? But it just means you did or you are kind of thing. You said that to me. It's like 네가 했잖아. It's like you did that to me. It's like, but it sounds like the N word. So I think it's meant to be a joke.
good old jokes.
Good old jokes.
I love them.
Yep. Next question. This comes from Eli. What do you guys think about BLM?
What do I think about BLM?
Mm-hmm.
That it's good.
Next
What?
question.
So wait. What? So
Yeah.
what is that? What do you think that means?
I think he's just asking overall thoughts, maybe just to expand on what we think or what we believe BLM is, or just our thoughts on it. Yeah, because it's what do you guys think about BLM?
BLM is a movement that is supporting the fact that Black Lives Matter because some people don't treat Black lives as if they do matter. And so I'm all on board. I'm not on board every single action done by someone who supports Black Lives Matter because just because we believe in the same thing, like that Black Lives Matter, doesn't mean that we believe in every other thing. They could be on board for Black Lives Matter, but they could also be, I don't know, a homophobic person. And so I wouldn't align with that person. So as I don't know whether this is referring to some of the actions carried out by riots which have turned violent, some of them, like the minority. My answer is the same, is that those people don't represent the whole movement. Just because they think that Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that they're instantly the ideal citizen, and it doesn't mean that I agree with every single thing they do. So do I believe in the Black Lives Matter movement? Absolutely. Do I believe in every single person who follows the Black Lives movement? No, I don't.
I think to some extent I'm the same as you, where I believe that Black Lives Matter. I don't think I have to tread lightly here. I don't think I agree with everything that the Black Lives Matter movement stands for. I just want to leave it at that. And if people want to have further discussion, I think I'm up for it, but I want to leave it there.
Okay.
Next question.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so maybe we'll have that conversation afterwards, off air.
Yes.
Don't worry, guys.
Next question is...
I'll deal with him if he's being naughty.
I'm not being naughty. I think I'm quite reasonable. But the next question is, what do you think the worst crime is? Do you think there is ever any justification for it? Which, I don't know. Both questions seem like there wasn't some sort of response that they wanted from us. But, yeah. What do you think is the worst crime? Do you ever think there is ever just any justification for it?
I don't know if there is the worst crime. I think that
Mm.
each crime has its individual context to it. Like, you could say killing someone, but then that has different.
Yeah.
Like, does that mean that killing someone at war is the same as killing someone because you're like stealing their money, or because I don't know. Like, there's different context to everything. So, yeah, I can't really answer that question. Like,
Yeah.
I think that there's two factors, and it's to do with the action and also the intent. And the intent, like, if you had to kill one person to save the rest of the world, it's always like that idea of, is that justified? Like, the action at the end of the day, it's a bad action and it's not good. Like, killing someone is never good. But if it's for the greater good, then obviously it complicates things a lot more. And I'm not enlightened enough to answer whether that's justified or not. I have no idea. So yeah, sorry. I'm just delivering the unsatisfying answers today, and that's another one.
I'm sure when we get to some other questions, we'll have deeper discussion, but it's all right. We'll just pump through these. There's quite a few questions we have today, so yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's a worst as well. But if I was to pick one, maybe taking someone else's life. Whether it be on accident or premeditated, I think yeah, I think there's a weight to losing someone that is dear to you. That yeah, there's not much that you can do to justify.
I think I would put torture worse than murder, and I think within torture I would include like, actually maybe I shouldn't go there, but like other crimes. There's probably another crime that a lot of people are thinking about.
Yeah.
And I include that in torture.
Mm.
Yeah.
Next question. Yeah, it's going down the dark hole, but maybe okay. I don't know if this question will help, but thoughts about drug use, which I don't know. I don't know what this question's implying. Like, is it prescribed drugs? Is it illegal drugs?
I think we're talking about illegal drugs.
Okay.
My answer is, if you're doing it in a safe place with people who care about you around you, and you're not going to hurt anyone else, like you're not putting other people in danger, then like, as long as you're sensible with your use, go for it. It's not my decision. I don't take drugs, but if you want to do it, you do it safely, you do it responsibly. Cool. I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
At the point where it starts affecting other people negatively, at the point where you start being irresponsible, not to others but also to yourself, that's when I'm like, no, I'm not on board. But if you're doing it safe, if you've got it under control, and if you have people around you who are going to look after you and you're not hurting anyone else, then cool, go for it.
I think the question is quite far reaching, because I have experience of drug use. Yeah, but I think, speaking as the person I am today, I think I don't condone it. I still have a lot of friends that I meet here and there that are quite frequent users, and I think I'm, in most cases, the party pooper in some sense, because I know the effects of drugs on the body. I know the how much money they might be wasting. I know that some people don't react good to it, so that I try to stop it if I see that it's occurring. Unless, like, just say it's a party, and I'm not going to go up to every single person and be like, hey, stop taking drugs. Excuse me, that's hurting my feelings. It's not like that, but I think if it's people that I care about, and it's like they can still have fun with me and the people that are with me without the use of drugs, then I say, yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, if you're talking about the issue that I have with drugs, is my thing is the issue is that people feel that they need it. That's my issue.
Mm.
But like, and the sort of problems you touched on there, David, they all fit into what I was saying about when it stops being responsible, when you're being irresponsible to yourself or others. That's when I have an issue with it. If it's under control, it's not like disabling your life or disabling others' lives, then like I wouldn't do it myself, and it's probably for similar reasons to you, David. I know what it can do, I know the risks, and I don't see the benefits outweighing the risks, or like just the downright detriments, which is I don't like being separated from consciousness and reality, because that's where it's all happening. I know other people who've had like these spiritual experiences on drugs will tell you otherwise. They'll tell you that after coming back, it feels like no, I'm serious. There are drugs out there.
No. I thought of someone when you said that. That's why. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And that they'll come back and they'll tell you that this isn't even the real world. This is just the way that our brains like are making sense of it. And under like things like DMT, ayahuasca, drugs like that, then your eyes get open to a like wider reality. I've never experienced that because I've never done anything like that. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with my reality, like satisfied enough that I wouldn't try and enhance it using a drug.
Yeah. I like being sober now, man. I used to be a mad pothead, and I liked being high all the time as well. But
that being said, David, we are both drinking beers right now, so
yeah. That's funny. But I don't drink to the point of like just being drunk and wasted.
Neither do I, man. I'm only just 10 beers in right now, so it's like, you know,
it's
no
just
problem.
it's just 10, 12 beers, like just a average.
What's that? What's
average Monday?
What's 13 beers in an hour?
You know? Yeah. That's fine.
Harmless.
Nah, but yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned like DMT and like those type of drugs, like hallucinogens, because like without name dropping, there's a friend I have who always, every time I bump into him, like he calls me a coffee connoisseur because I just love coffee, and like I tell him like we go to nice cafes and stuff. But he's if I'm a coffee connoisseur, he's an acid connoisseur because he just knows and all this terminology, and he's telling me about his wildest trips, bad trips, good trips, all that spiritual awakenings. It's interesting. It's quite interesting.
Man, I've heard some stories of people literally having life-changing like trips.
Yeah, man.
Where they just have such a healing experience, and it like heals like serious trauma that they've had. There's a study going on right now which is having great results of using ketamine to help with mental illness, and it's having very good results.
Yeah. Just a disclaimer before you go on, we don't condone the use of drugs on this podcast. This is just purely speaking our thoughts and like what Jack has read on articles or something. But please continue.
Well, this was told to me by a researcher. Like this is like a real is a real study. It's not just like some dudes in a garage having ketamine and they're like, I feel good. No, this is like a proper like study. Man. And it's an Australian study. Yep. And I think it might be Black Dog Institute doing it, possibly.
Wow. Yep.
Might have that wrong, but yeah, it's having great results. I think there's a place for a lot of this stuff within our society, just like marijuana. There's a place in medicine for it. It's just when it gets abused, you know. Like I think that a lot of drugs are stigmatized a lot because in reality, like alcohol is much more dangerous than some of the more accessible drugs, but we don't really talk about it like that. It's stigmatized, so we're just like, oh, it's so dangerous, it will rot your brain, this and that, and it's just like, meanwhile, these kids are going out at 16 and getting absolutely pissed on alcohol, and
which
that
is just
affecting
not a
their brain
smart
development.
thing to do. Yeah, as you just said, it's like you're a growing human being, and you're just pumping your body with stuff that it shouldn't be exposed to that degree, but at the same time, it's like, man, it's
Meanwhile, like cannabis can do some like extraordinary things in medicine that they've shown. Like it's one of the few things that can battle cancer cells that we've found, and it's like, there's a place for this stuff, I think, but it needs to be regulated. It needs to be used responsibly, and it needs to,
weed is an interesting one because people respond to it very differently. How I like to see it is 9 out of maybe 8 or 7. Actually, let's say 8. 8 out of 10 people when they smoke weed, they don't function very highly. But there's the 2 out of 10, the 20% that are super high functioning weed smokers. And I only met a very few of these type of people where they smoke like just joints after joints every day, but you can't even tell that they're high until they tell you. Like an example is I met this real estate guy who came to my cafe and he asked for a cappuccino with 5 sugars. And even from that, I was like, okay, something's up. I'm like, wait. Five sugars? 5 sugars? And he's like, he has sunnies on. And I'm like, 5 sugars, right? I heard that right? And he's like, yep. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he's like, he leans over to me, right? He leans real close and he's just like, okay, this is a secret just between you and me. But I'm so stoned right now, bro. And as he says that, he legit, like a scene from a movie, he drops his sunnies and then you just see his
like
eyes.
Cyclops from the X-Men. It's just
man.
red light.
Just red light is beaming. But yeah, and then he's just having a straight conversation with me, explaining he's in real estate. His boss knows that he's on weed, but he functions really well. And I said it myself. I'm like, dude, how do you do this every day? And he's just like, I don't know, man. It's just like this. And then we talked about Snoop Dogg, and yeah.
Right.
Anyways,
that's our thoughts on drugs, guys.
Yep, Snoop Dogg. Next question, which comes from the same person. If you could make a vehicle with any amount of wheels you wanted, how many would you have and why? And I answered 23.
Okay, on 3. Oh, I was gonna. All right.
Sorry, I just ruined it. Yep.
Yeah.
Should we
23.
Should we say it again? On the count of 3. No, but I say 23.
I say 23 as well.
Oh, do you want to expand? Why do you think 23 is the right number?
Because it's the obvious answer. Like what else would you do? Like,
right?
Obviously you'd have 10 on each side. You know.
Yep.
You'd have one in the middle, and it would be like much bigger than the other 2. Mm-hmm. Like other 22.
And you'll only come down when you need a turn, right? Because the other 20
no,
or
it
10
doesn't.
on
It
each
doesn't.
side.
It doesn't turn.
Oh, what is it? Why is it in the middle then?
Just because it looks sick, and it's like a little unicycle. It's got heaps of other wheels, but the wheels don't do anything unless the car tips, and then it leans on those wheels.
Yep.
And then you use the other wheels. And then there's 2 more, and they're on the roof. In case you flip over.
So that you can flip back, or would you just continue on driving?
No, you just keep going.
Down?
Keep going.
That's genius. I had a different idea, but I was thinking 23 because there's 10 on each side, right? And they only go straight, and there's 2 in the middle, and that helps you to turn, and you can spin really fast. You know what I mean? Do you get the science?
Oh, you have me at, and you can spin really fast. That's the most important bit.
Yeah, man. Come on, you got to think about these things. A 23-wheeled car.
David, just the last bit that you have to know is it spins really fast.
Really fast.
Really fast.
Like so fast that no 4-wheeled car can do that, replicate that.
You know how like helicopter blades spin really fast?
It's chopper fast. Yep.
It's like that.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Sick. That was probably the best question so far.
Yeah, like I'm kind of scared that the next one's gonna be a bit underwhelming because that was so powerful. You know?
It moved me. Next question. Why every creative feels lonely? Why, Jack? Why every creative feels lonely, bro?
Because everyone feels lonely sometimes.
Okay.
And every creative is a person, which means they fit into everybody. So that's why every creative feels lonely.
Maybe this guy's... Oh, this is from Michael, by the way. Shout out to you, Michael.
Shout out Mikey boy.
Mikey! He's been losing a lot of weight. He's been working out, Mikey.
Good for you, Michael. I've actually lost a few kilos this week.
We didn't ask Jack. We didn't.
I know, but I just thought I'd tell you. I'm not like I wasn't overweight or anything, but I was just sort of getting to a weight that I was just like, I should be like it. I'll tell you what was happening. I was getting a bit of a COVID baby happening.
Right.
And so it wasn't like visible or like it wasn't too bad or anything, but I just thought, you know what, I've got a lot of time. So I was just like, let me use the time constructively, do some exercise. And guys, easiest meal to get better at is lunch. That's what I figured out. Because breakfast, if you eat it or not, is generally like, it's not too bad. Like it's generally a decent meal. Dinner, like as long as you're not going crazy at dinner, like you're probably still eating reasonable portions and hopefully a fairly balanced diet for dinner. But I feel like lunch is the one that you get really sloppy with. Personally, I get really sloppy with, and like I just get lazy, don't make lunch, and so I just go out and buy it.
What have you been eating to lose the weight? How long have you done it, and how much have you lost?
So like, let me stress that most people won't be able to do this because for some reason, I'm able to drop weight really quick. But basically, I was just having just fruit for lunch pretty much, and like some nuts, just plain almonds, which I've got one right here actually. I just in case you needed to,
Some ASMR
So that's the
almonds right there.
Been drinking a lot of natural juices like smoothies. No like artificial anything, just fruit and a lot of water. And yeah, I've cut out breakfast. Even though I was eating a good breakfast, I've stopped eating breakfast. I never used to eat breakfast, but I started eating breakfast because, they say it's the most important meal of the day. But then I know heaps of people who do intermittent fasting who are like super high performers. Yeah. So
that's me.
I don't know.
Super high performer.
I don't know how legit that is, but
it's so legit.
Yeah, and I've just been doing some exercise, which is obviously the best strategy to losing weight is to do some exercise.
Yeah.
And yeah, within a week or maybe 10 days, I lost 3 kilos. So
wow.
Most people probably can't do that for some reason. Like I can drop it really easily if I actually like get off my ass and try and do it. I'm quite lucky in that regard. I'm sure I'll get to a certain age and it will just stop. Like,
yeah,
the numbers will start ticking up like seconds on the scales. But
and just a disclaimer here: Jack is not a nutritionist or this just work for him.
Yeah.
So you guys
why
might
are you being
gain,
so legal friendly?
You guys might gain weight from doing Jack's diet of eating nuts and fruit juice. Because what I want to say about fruit juice is apparently you'll gain weight from fruit juice because it has no fiber. Well, it has fiber, but
what are you talking about, bro?
The fruit skin, right? Like all the skin, see how we were talking about the outer layer before? So the inside is the flesh, right? Fruit flesh.
Yeah, but that's why you use purees.
Well, you didn't say purees.
Which are just
all
fruits.
You said was fruit.
Well, that's what I said. I said all natural. So it's not juice. It's like smoothies. So it's just the whole fruit just like blended up. So you get everything that you would eat if you were eating those fruits, but just in a juice format.
Right. Because what I heard is even if you put it into smoothie form, even though you put the whole fruit in, because it's blended, it doesn't do the job as if you were to eat just a piece of fruit.
Oh, because your body is not. Yeah. But I mean, that's just the fiber. You can get fiber in other places. Like if you're replacing stuff like. As David said, I'm not a nutritionist, but
this worked for him, and he lost 3 kilos.
Yeah, but if you're replacing bad things with a fruit juice, I'm not sure your body's going to be like, oh, but where's the fiber?
Where's the fiber, though? Where's the fiber?
If you go from eating a burger and chips to having a fruit juice and some unsalted almonds, I think you're probably good, bro.
Yeah.
But it's not sustainable. Like I'm not going to continue that like that. But I'm just going to be more conscious about what I eat for lunch because dinner I normally have I have a decent sized portion, but I only have like one portion. I don't go back for seconds or anything. eat fairly balanced, and yeah. So we've ended up talking about my diet for quite a bit of time now.
Probably
I
edit
was
this
just
out.
going to touch on it for a second. Yeah.
What are we talking about? Why
The
artists
questions?
why are artists sad, right?
No, I answered that, didn't I?
Yeah, I
Or
guess
you
so.
didn't? You
Well,
didn't though.
all I wanted to say is maybe because okay, the question was why every creative feels lonely, and maybe this guy is trying to say that if you just try to look deep into it, right? Maybe he's just trying to say creatives are misunderstood. Some creatives, not all creatives, like introvert creatives, maybe. And
I don't know. I feel like that's a
the only
that's that.
way. Let me finish, Jack,
Okay.
before you go in there. Um, only way they can feel understood is through their art form. See, maybe this is what they're trying to help us to unpack. That's what
So, David,
they
do you want
want
me
us to
to
talk
answer the
about.
questions, or do you want me to tell the listener what they want to hear?
Maybe a bit of both, Jack. Maybe maybe they want both, bro. I'm just trying to cater for these people. Our
Stop being a
listeners.
sheep, David. Stop
Our
pandering
listeners,
to
bro.
everyone. Tell them the
I'm not
truth. That's what we're
pandering
here
to
for.
everyone. I say my facts, but Mikey, my boy, this guy deserves what he wants to hear. I got your back, Mikey. Next question.
All love, Mikey. All love. I'm just telling you my truth.
He doesn't love you like I do. Next question is from Mick Kayla, another guest on the show. And she asks, egg sandwich. Okay, let me tell you about egg sandwich, right?
I think you already did that, though.
Okay, but just let me just revisit this very briefly. Okay. Egg sandwich, right? Very simple. It's in the name, egg and sandwich. So there has to be bread, right?
How many pieces there?
This is 2 pieces, Jack. Okay.
What if it's like a fold over, so it's just one?
Jack.
That's still a sandwich.
Jack, there has to be 2 pieces, Jack. Okay, this is crucial. Okay. And the egg is the key player in this, right?
Where does it go? On the top, on the bottom?
No, it's in between the bread, Jack. See, I knew you would get confused by this, and this is why we have to talk about it.
This is tough. Like, I think you need to slow down because
guys, if you're getting lost here, just go take a step back. Press the back 15 seconds button on your Spotify.
And stick it on half speed to listen to this because you're going to need that.
You might
extra,
get lost. You might just get lost from
time,
these deep words, but egg sandwich. Okay? That's it. Next question.
Bacon sandwich. No.
Do you have to suffer to make good art? And this question comes from John T. Shout out to you, John T. Day one. Big supporter of the pod.
Shout out, John T.
Much love to you, my friend. Do you have to suffer to make good art?
Oh, by the way, just on John T, he messaged me and he told me he's working hard on some new stuff. So, yeah, exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Good luck on that endeavor, John T. All the best. But would you like to start with that, answering that question?
Do artists have to suffer? Is that?
Yep.
David, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say like another unsatisfying answer, but it's true. Everybody suffers, and artists fit into everybody. So, do artists have to suffer more than most people to create good art?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't know if
it can be very helpful. Like suffering can create great art, but that doesn't mean that you have to. But absolutely, there's some fantastic art which has come out of, come out of a really difficult period or a really difficult event. Trying to think of something right now, which is good example is, what's it called? Okay, I've got 2. The first one is "Dance with My Father" by Luther Vandross. Great song.
Great song.
And that obviously that one's to do with him losing his father, and that's a really beautiful song.
Oh, wow. Yep.
The second one I thought is "Tears in Heaven" by Eric Clapton. and that's about
Mm.
him losing his son, which is a
Yeah.
really beautiful song. Um, but
It
yeah, there's
is.
some songs that just like, or just artwork in general that comes from really sad things, but just are really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So just about Tears in Heaven, because I just looked this up. He lost his 4-year-old son.
Mm.
And yeah, it's
Yeah. I'm sure a
really
lot of
tragic.
like probably all the listeners that are
He
listening right
fell out
now
of a
know.
window on a 53rd floor apartment.
Dang. Tears in Heaven is a beautiful song.
Mm.
I think so. What I was just gonna say before was just that maybe you don't have to. Artists don't have to suffer more than like average people do, but it's just um creating art that helps people, not helps people, maybe it helps people have a avenue to express that emotion or just relate to it, which they would find a lot of maybe relief or just yeah, it just moves them in that way, whether it be the lyrics, whether it be the melodies that accompany it. I feel like if an artist suffers, it bears it can bear fruit that listeners can really enjoy. Like an example that something that we discussed
Mm.
in depth is like To Pimp a Butterfly, and I feel like Kendrick's suffering, Kendrick's voice for his community, his city in Compton, like it created something that's beautiful and became an anthem and a avenue for people who don't have that voice. So I feel like yes, but no, because like as you said earlier, Jack, there are art that there is art that is created that's not maybe
Well, because you got love songs, right? Which are based
yeah,
on really positive, like,
yeah,
feelings. So, um, yeah, I think that positive songs can be just as powerful, like, positive events can be just as powerful in art as negative ones.
mm.
But
Thanks for helping
can
me there,
suffering
buddy.
help? Absolutely.
Mm.
It definitely can help.
Yeah.
I do think though that everyone, not just artists, has a possibility of creating a beautiful thing out of suffering though. I mean,
Yeah.
um, we talk about post-traumatic stress a lot. I think I might have mentioned this, but post-traumatic growth is absolutely a thing where you go through a tough event, but you grow out of it and you blossom out and you become like better than you were before. So that's beauty coming from suffering.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just artists. It's just artists expressing that beauty within their music, the same way that we would express it by,
Mm.
like David, you telling me your testimony about how you came from a place where you were suffering and then blossomed into a more like a beautiful, beautiful lifestyle that you've got going on. So,
Mm.
yeah, like you sharing that with us is like the same way, I guess, as saying an artist would be sharing a blossoming moment for them,
Yeah.
or maybe just a really sad moment as well. Not obviously not every sad moment creates a beautiful thing. Sometimes it's just really tough to watch or listen. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. Because like on that opposite side of the spectrum, you can look at, as you said, love songs, and or even like, you mentioned Tears in Heaven, but the opposite might be Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder, where it's
mm,
about his daughter. So it's like,
mm.
yeah, there's a beauty
Which is
on
a
both.
beautiful song. It's
Yeah, man.
such a nice song. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Never gets old, that one. But
Mm.
yeah, cool. Next question. Are we ready to keep going?
Of course we are.
Good. Next question is from a new listener, new follower of the pod. Shout out to you,
Mm.
Karen. Karen.
Shout out Karen. Thanks for the follows.
Yeah. Your name might be getting some hate these days in media, but we know you're not that type of Karen. So, yeah, much love to you. She asks, or she puts to our discussion, adds to our discussion by saying, young people participation in politics.
Do you want to go first on this one?
Sure, because I think you've been studying most of it, but yeah, sure, I'd love to. I think because like if we try to define the word participation, I think the first image that comes to my mind when I think of participation is like um, going on, what do you call it? I can't remember, I can't think of the word right now. On not marches, what is it called? On protests. I think the
Mm.
image of protests, because of especially this year and the circumstances and the situations that arise this year with BLM and stuff. That's the first image I kind of think of. But if we take a step back, I think participation can start from doing your research and knowing what is going on in the world of politics. And I think, if I'm honest, I really don't know much in depth about politics, but I think even from being an outsider looking in, there's just so much depth into it, and there's so much that goes on that I feel like it already exhausts me, because I feel like I just know the surface and like I know different things, but the depth of it and what everything entails is like a bit of a headache. So in one sense, I think I advocate research and understanding and knowledge of what's actually going on in this world and different political views and things. But at the same time, how do I put this? Yeah, there's different ways to participate. And if you're not knowledgeable and if you don't really know why or what you might believe, because we're talking about young people, then I feel like it's better not to be involved until you know what you're actually going for, if that makes sense. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're trying to say.
What are your thoughts?
What's interesting is your first thought was Black Lives Matter, right?
Not
And for me,
Black Lives Matter, but just the image of protests. I was just referring to that and like, yeah.
Anyway, regardless, like the idea of protest, right?
Sure.
For me, that didn't even like cross my mind. And the reason why is kind of the reason why, well, it's kind of the basis of everything that I think about this topic. And that is that I think most young people these days, they don't associate societal change and activism with politics, because we've grown up in a world where politics is absolute BS. Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense, because everything is so extreme yet so blurred at the same time, where like people are arguing the same points but fighting each other about it, where what is considered left wing or right wing is becoming completely like flipped. Like some left wing views these days are so against what left wing views like originated as. For example, like left wing, a big part of like what left wing extremists are saying these days is about like policing language and how you have to say certain things or you can't say certain things because people will get offended and stuff. And like
PC
that
culture.
is that, yeah, and that goes against like a big thing that like left wingers were pushing for way back when they were pushing for the working class to have a voice, to be able to speak and to be able to like speak your voice, like speak it.
Right.
And now it's like that doesn't even seem to be a left wing concept anymore. I'm not going to pretend that I know heaps about politics, but I've been studying it a little bit this year because I feel like I should. And I think that the issue with young people getting involved in politics is we don't see any positive change happening. We don't see any people who we can identify with. We don't see anyone that we like. Like, I can't remember the last time that I saw a politician who I warmed to. I guess it's Barack Obama, but even Obama had serious flaws in stuff that he did, which there's an argument, and I haven't heard this fleshed out, but by people who I respect, saying Trump has been so far a better president for black people than Obama. Now, I haven't heard that fleshed out yet, but there's apparently there are some policies which Obama had in place which were quite detrimental to black people. And that seems crazy. So I'm not saying that I believe that or not because I haven't read up on it enough, but when you got clowns as politicians like we have in the US with Trump and how we got in the UK with Boris Johnson. Like, it's just, these are the people that that are supposed to excuse me.
Bless you.
Are these the sort of people who are supposed to inspire like us young people to get involved in politics? Because no, that they're not. I'm sorry, but like, I'm not saying that it's all the role, the responsibility of the people who came before today's youth to like encourage the youth to get involved in politics, but really, they have to be doing more. Like, I feel like the youth are looked down on a lot when it comes to politics because we don't care. But the reason why we don't care is because we feel like we've got no power in politics. We feel like nothing we say or do will really have much of a change on what politicians do. Now, I think that is wrong, but I also think that there's a good reason why plenty of the youth feel that way. And I don't think we feel like our voice is heard, and I don't think we feel like the stuff that's talked about that we see on the news, the things that seem to be causing such a big fuss, often are the things that we're not really, they're not on the top of our priority list. We're thinking about more street level issues. Like,
Sure.
I don't know, like, I think if politicians started talking more about things like racism, started talking, like Australian politicians, I mean, started talking more about racism, started talking more about sexual assault, started talking more about mental health, started talking about all these things that our generation feel really passionately about, all those things, then I think they'd get more of a response out of us. But I don't think that politicians are trying to appeal to a young like generation. And because of that, we're just not really interested. We're not really involved. And obviously, that's a generalization. There are some young people who are so on top of this stuff. But in Australia, I just don't think that many of us are, because we just don't see anything that makes us excited to actually make a difference or anything. Because I believe, like, I struggle to believe that the youth has much of a voice in politics. And that's why I don't invest that much time in it. If I want to make a social change, I try and do it myself instead of going through the powers that be. It's complicated, and it's not at all a black and white issue, but I feel like when campaigning is happening, I feel like more could be done to involve the youth. And I feel like we are looked down on a lot because we seem disinterested. But we're not disinterested in change. We're just disinterested in politics because it just feels like BS. It just feels fake. And there's a good reason why it feels that way.
Because I feel like to a certain extent, there's the feeling of not having your voice heard is far reaching, depending on what kind of side you're on. But then that's the thing with politics, is that like there will always be a feeling of like your voice is not being heard.
What's your point? Are you saying it's not a good enough excuse for the youth to be disinterested?
I just want to say, I think if you are to be involved, I think you have to know deeper before you act. I think I see. I can't speak for all the youth, but there's many people who might deep dive into action before really knowing what they think they believe, is what I think.
No, they know what they believe. They just don't know all the policies surrounding it, right?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what, like, I feel like if you don't know like what it's all about, then like to a certain extent you don't know what you're trying to push forward for.
Well, could you give an example? Because I'm kind of confused about what you mean. Like,
like an example would be like, even if we just think about voting, when it comes to voting for voting in Australia, we're all in the age where we're allowed to vote. We have that voice and we have that vote. And I think many, as you said, many people think that yeah, maybe I just haven't had this conversation enough, but I get the feeling that many of us think that our votes don't matter kind of thing. Where I don't know if it is like that. I feel like
I think that they don't think that our votes don't matter. They just think that the vote doesn't matter because we're just going to end up with a pretty similar version of what we had before. I feel like the difference between parties has become so blurred that it's just really people disagreeing about stuff for the sake of disagreeing about things sometimes. Like, I couldn't really tell you what the main, like what the big differences are between Labour and Liberals in Australia, because it's so opaque now. It's not as clear as it used to be. And I think that's what I was saying before about the left wing and right wing in the US. Like, things are just so strange. They're so extreme, but so crossed over now. And it's hard to follow, as you said. But it's also hard to get interested when it just feels like a game. Like, it feels like
it's not going anywhere.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sure. Shall we leave it at that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Because this next question, which is our last, excites me a little bit more. Our last question, Jack, unless we have more to add from like what we discussed today, is don't be shy. This comes from Expreaky. And today I found out a fun fact about Expreaky.
Expreaky.
Yeah. Do you remember Expreaky from our...
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
How
shout
can I
out
forget?
to you. Expreaky. It's a she.
Okay.
That's a fun fact. I can't tell you how I know now, but yeah, I know now.
What do you mean you can't tell me how you know?
Which sounds creepy.
Sounds so creepy.
Okay, I'll just explain it because I thought this was going to be the zero context pod, but I guess not. She follows and supports a lot of the Korean Australian artists that I'm familiar with as well in Sydney. And
right.
Yeah, she follows a lot of friends that I know, and she talks to them sometimes. And yeah, I met someone today at a cafe, a friend of mine. Shout out to you, Isaac. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I know like." I know I'm butchering her name, and I'm sure we're not saying it right. We just decided to call her Expreaky. But oh yeah, I know Expreaky. She's mad. She supports everyone. And I'm like, she? And he's like, yeah, it's a she. And then I'm like, no, it's not.
Did we say he?
I think so.
I think I just said them. I think I kept it neutral. Maybe I did go he.
I'm pretty sure we said he in our last episode. So apologies for that.
Sorry, Expreaky on Fleeky or whatever it was.
Expreaky on Fleeky is a she. And she wants us to talk about anime. Don't be shy. Talk about anime.
Well, let's talk about it, David.
Yeah.
Anime is the Japanese word for animation.
What?
And it's a genre of
oh man,
of animation.
You're doing great, buddy. Just keep going.
Originating from Japan.
You're like a thirsty uni student trying to go up to the 2,000 word mark by just repeating.
And it's mostly in Japanese. But then you've got some stuff that's dubbed, which means that
which is not as good. It just ruins
English
ruins it.
Dialogue over the top. Or you've got your subtitles, and most people who are into anime will say subtitles are much better.
Way better.
And every single thing is completely over dramatized. So when someone says like hello, they'll be like, hello, and that's
so
hello. How is that racist?
No, it's not racist. Let me tell you something about anime. It is a lot of Asian kids' childhood. I can't tell you one Asian kid unless they're super like whitewashed to the point where they don't get that Asian anime kind of upbringing, but guarantee most Asian kids would have grown up on either Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, One Piece, you name it. These are like there's a small number of Digimon fans. Do you know any of these things I'm dropping right now?
Yeah, bro, I know what they all are. I just
Yeah.
like I watched maybe like 1 or 2 episodes of Naruto.
Yeah.
I watched
Remember Toasted TV, bro?
tiny bit of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. I don't think I ever watched any Digimon, but I know I had some Digimon.
Digimon, digital.
Was Beyblades also?
Yes, Beyblade's
Yeah.
pretty lit. I used to have some Beyblades.
I had some of those.
That was pretty gangster. Yu-Gi-Oh.
There was
pretty
one
lit.
that I watched. It was like Dragon Racer, Dragon
Racer.
Dragon Racing or something like that. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know what you're talking about. Dragon Racer, is that one? But
me
my
Google.
all-time fave has to be One Piece. There's this storytelling of being a pirate, being free and roaming in a weird world that just excites the Asian boy in me. And the main character's made of rubber. Come on, like, that's a great start already. He can stretch. He's like Mr. Fantastic. Is it Mr. Fantastic? Fantastic Four? But he's cooler because he's a rubber man.
Amazing.
Did you find your Dragon Slayer, Dragon Racer thing?
I didn't.
Cool.
I didn't. But these were dragons, but they didn't fly and they ran and people.
Wait a
danced.
sec. I think I know what you're talking about. This isn't anime, bro. This is like Western animation. It's like
Was
what's
it?
it called?
I don't remember this.
Dragon Racer.
No,
what you
it's
type
not
in?
that.
It's not.
I tried Dragon Racer, Dragon Race. Ran out of ideas.
'Cause-
I tried Dragon Racing as well. It wasn't there either.
Because you know, it clicked to me just now when you were saying that because they don't fly, they run, right?
Was
And
that?
I
was that a
remember-
Western show?
Yeah, because I remember what you're talking about because it's like release the dragon.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one. Let me search that
What
up.
is that
Release.
called?
Oh, but that's
Release the
just gonna
Dragon.
come up with the song by what's Cisco.
Release.
Oh no, it did come up with it. Unleash the Dragon is the Cisco
it's
song. But
Unleash.
no, that was the Cisco. Dragon Booster. That's what it is.
Booster. Bro, this was actually lit. I actually watched this too.
It was a good show.
Yeah,
It
man.
was a good show. So this isn't an anime, is it?
Yeah, this isn't. So anime, as you said, is usually Japanese origins. This
But
is
isn't this set in Japan? And it's
No, I
or
don't
am I-
think so.
no,
Yeah,
it wasn't. It wasn't.
this is a
anime.
Canadian science fantasy animated series by Rob Travaglino. And
I
Kevin
almost got
Moller.
involved, but it's kind of like an anime style though.
Yeah,
Like the visuals, not necessarily the.
ooh, I think
Oh,
maybe
not really. Hey, it isn't.
Yeah.
It's actually looks quite different to how I remembered.
Yeah,
I'm watching an episode now.
sick. During our podcast.
Yeah, hit me up in 20 minutes.
Okay. Unleash. Is it unleash or release?
Release the dragon. but
Release.
It's
the
called Dragon Booster.
Anime is pretty cool, bro. It's too far reaching now.
Dragon City is an
Dragon Ball
ultra-modern
Z is
urban
pretty cool.
sprawl where
One Punch Man's
commercialism
pretty lit.
thrives and celebrity
Um,
is king.
What's that other one called on Netflix? Oh, like One Punch Man's cool, and then there's like Mob Psycho. What's that?
Dude,
on
if you want to talk
Netflix?
about anime, get Tawanda on, and then I'll just
bro,
take a hike for that episode.
yeah. Can we just have? Can he co-host one day, and then on a chill episode, we'll just talk about anime. But yeah,
Well, this episode's gone way too long, and it's been really not very interesting. So I feel quite sorry for I feel like our quality it's gone a little bit downhill, David. We need to get a guest on soon.
yeah, man. I mean, yeah. Today was a fun one. I'd still say. Let's end
Was
on a
it?
positive
Was it
positive
really?
note. Positive note, Jack. I feel like we can kind of loosen up on these type of episodes.
I
But
think we
definitely I agree.
loosened up.
I agree that we should have a guest soon. We were supposed to, but some unfortunate events have
Yeah.
stopped us from
That's all good.
having that. So it's all good. We'll be coming with an artistry app for you guys in the next one. So please
Yep.
stay tuned.
Yep.
Shout out to all the people that have dropped the discussion questions and topics. Much love to you
Yep.
guys.
And David,
Yep.
happy 25th episode anniversary.
Woo! Happy
Quarter
25th,
century.
bro. Quarter century. Maybe we should have saved that anniversary for today, hey. But yeah, man, it feels
We
good.
were too keen.
We were very keen. We were just like, oh, we hit number 2 as our first digit. I mean, yeah, so it's like, anyways, anything else, Jack, that you want to add before we wrap up? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to talk about and share with our listeners?
I guess if we got any crossover between my podcast, Self Care Project. Sorry, I didn't have an episode this week. We'll have another one next week, but similar thing to do with guests didn't happen. So I didn't want to force an episode. Those ones take a lot more time to put together when they're just me. So I didn't want to, throw one together without putting some research or whatever. So I have another one out Thursday or Friday this week. So yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for your review on the Self Care Project, by the way. I like how you said your favorite episode was episode 4, and you didn't list what it was, which was the episode that you came on the podcast for.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a good episode. I mean, are they numbered so that people know? That's the only concern. Yeah.
Huh?
Are they numbered, your episodes like we do?
No, they're
or-
not.
Oh, okay.
They're
Good
not
luck finding that
but-
episode,
Sorry,
guys.
they're not numbered. But if you're listening, some platforms number them automatically. Like they
Yeah.
have the number next to them. Some of them don't. But unlike the Artist Notepad, my podcast isn't like. It doesn't really matter whether you listen in order or not. But with the Artist Notepad, we make a lot of references in here towards older episodes. So if you're just joining in now, you picked a bad episode to start, but go whiz back and you'll catch up on some really good episodes. David, let's
Yeah.
recommend a couple. I think one of my all-time favorites was episode 4, where we had Yura on.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed
I
that
like that
discussion.
Mm-hmm.
1.5 is always a classic. The
Mhm.
COVID special, that one was a goodie.
That was laid back
Healthy
like
relationships.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. I liked our last
Really liked that
episode
one.
with Mick. Mick was a good guest. We
Yeah,
bounced
Mick was a
off
good
well
guest.
with him.
Yeah, that was a really good. I'd also say Zion Garcia was also a very good one. We talked about some great stuff there.
Yeah. Oh wait, sorry. Episode 23. Our last episode was the culture one. But yeah, Zion was really good too. Shout out to you, Zion.
Basically, they were all good. I'm just picking out the ones that are jumping out to me right now. But we also had Yao Does It All on. That was great. Who else have we had on? We've had on Jessica Jade. We've had on Goya. We've had on Array. We've had on Waterbar. We
had Simon Bernardo.
Yep. We had on Tawanda Bay.
Mm-hmm.
We had Mesa.
Mesa. Shout out
We
to you.
had
Amazing
Eli
singer.
Gomez, and we had a Rido, which is not in podcast format. But if you go back to our earlier episodes, you will find out
Exclusive.
where you can find it. And I'll
Mhm.
just cut out what David just said because he just told you where to find it. But I'll cut that out.
Don't cut it out. Exclusive.
No, I have to cut it out again.
You're gonna bleep it out. It's like the time
Nah,
I said.
That's only for when you say
said
that
juice.
phrase.
I said.
Don't. Oh, now I have to find the beep noise again.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we've gone way over time. I'm so done with this episode. I'm sorry, guys. We'll
Why would
be
you
back
say
on
that?
form next week.
Why would you say that? You can. Well, do you want me to close it off then, or do you want to do the honors like you always do?
Do I always do them? Oh, by saying all the socials and stuff.
Yeah.
Give it a
You're the
go. See if you
master.
can do it.
Thanks for tuning in. As always, guys, please follow us and reach out to us on our socials: Instagram at The Artist Notepad, Facebook at The Artist Notepad, Twitter at The Artist Notepad, and you can email us at artistnotepad@gmail.com. Was that good?
It was all right. We can work
Was
on
it?
it, but it was a good, you know,
Thank you. But
good start.
other than that, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
One Piece.
One Piece. Gama gama na.
Boom, boom.
Boom.